Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Understanding Scale webinar. My name is Nick, and I will be doing the presentation with you today. Just like all of our previous webinars, everybody will be on mute, but if you do happen to have any questions at any point during our class, please feel free to go ahead and type those into the questions and answers sections within the Zoom panel. And at the end of the class, I will go through and answer any questions that may have come up. Also, at the end of the class, I will be sending out an email that's going to contain a document that covers everything that we're going to be looking at in today's class. And should you happen to have any questions while going over that document, please don't hesitate. You can reach out to our support department and they will be happy to help you out with any questions you might have. Again, today's class is on understanding scale. And we're basically going to be going through and providing some detailed information about the scales within Cadsoft Envisioneer. We're going to be first taking a look at the view properties within Envisioneer. We're then going to be looking at how to insert your views at various scales. We're going to look at printing to scale. And then we're going to be looking at just the standard paper sizes that you would be printing to. So first, let's take a look at the view properties. Now, Envisioneer has two environments. There is the model view, where you construct and edit your model, and then there is the worksheet view, where you create your working drawings. Each view is going to be a scaled environment. This is the ratio of units on paper to units in real life. As an example, a scale of 1/4 inch is equal to a foot means that for every foot of the actual model, it is going to be represented by 1/4 inch on paper. The default scale that we use in Envisioneer is going to be that 1/4 inch is equal to a foot. To view the various views in a project, we're going to go up and we're going to select the view option, and then we're going to select View Manager. Alternatively, you could also simply just select this button down here, which is the View Manager button. So again, if you like buttons, it's going to be this View Manager button here. If you like to use the menu, View Manager. Once you select that, you're going to see the View Manager dialog box display on your screen. And what you're going to be taking a look at here is a list of every open view that you have available within the program. So as you can see on the left-hand side, we have our model, and then we have our worksheets. These correspond to the views, again, that are in the program. If you take a look at the bottom of your screen, you can see we have model, floor plan, elevations, details, and site plan. And all of these are set to be displayed. If I was to uncheck any one of these, it would turn the display of that tab off within my working drawing area. So you can, again, control the visibility of these, but you can also add additional views to your project as well. So if you wanted to create additional working drawing sheets or additional model views, you could go up to View and you can add in new model sheets or add in new worksheets. You can also copy views as well. You can also arrange how you want these to be viewed. So you can simply just select one of them and you can use the arrange option, or you can use the the up and down arrows to move these elements or these views up and down within the list. What we really want to focus on is over on the right-hand side. Now, on the right-hand side, we can see that it gives us, when we select the view, it gives us the name of the view. It tells us what type of view it is. This one is a model view. And then it shows us the scale. And like I mentioned at the beginning, it is always going to be using, if you're using the default templates from Envisioneer, it is always going to be set to that 1/4 inch is equal to a foot. Now, one thing I do want to make note of, things like text and dimensions will scale on the screen when you change the scale. Sorry, will not scale on the screen when you change the scale because they are specified in real world units, whereas the model on your screen is created using units that are only proportional to real world units. So for example, If you insert text that has a 1/2 inch text height in its text settings, then the text will be a 1/2 inch on paper regardless of the view scale or what the text looks like on the screen. So again, these values here that we're looking at are going to control the elements that you draw. Things like text are going to be using their own scale values, and it's going to be set to an actual size. We also have a print properties section, and under the print properties section within that view manager, you can control how you want to print your views, and we're going to touch on that a little bit later. Since we're in the model view, you're also going to see a scene properties tab, and this will allow you to control how you want the scene to be displayed for the model that you're working on. And this can control anything from the time of day to the background you want to be using, what type of exposure you want to be using. Is it going to be partly cloudy, sunny? You can again adjust as needed. When you switch to a working drawing sheet, obviously the scene tab is going to be grayed out because you're not working in a 3D model view, you're working in a sheet view, but you're still going to have the view properties and the print properties that you can adjust. We're just going to say okay to that. And we're now going to be looking at inserting scaled views onto a worksheet. So when you are inserting views into a worksheet, you will need to determine an appropriate scale for each view. At full scale, a floor plan would not fit on a piece of paper. So the drawing is scaled down to a set size. The scale is the ratio again of units on paper to units in the real world. We are going to continue using our 1/4 inch is equal to a foot option when we're inserting into our working drawing sheets. But in the document that I'm going to send you, there's going to be a list of some different view scales that you can use for different elements that you want to insert, or different views of your floor plan that you want to insert. Typically, anything that is going to be in an elevation view, you can have that insert at 1/8 of an inch is equal to a foot. A 1/4 inch equaling to 1 foot is going to be used for your floor plans and your elevations. 1/2 an inch equals 1 foot is going to be used mostly for sections and details. 1 inch equals 1 foot is going to be used for details. And then full size is going to be for things that are like small drawing projects that you want to be using. We're going to be using the Define Smart View tool to quickly insert views of our model that you've created in the model view. And this is going to include 2D plan views, elevations, sections, and any other type of view that you want to add in. So I'm going to drop in a couple of walls in here, and I'm just going to throw in some walls. And we're just going to change the scale on this. We're just going to make this one 30 feet, just make it some nice round numbers here. And we'll say 12 feet. And we'll say this is going to be 10 feet. And we'll just make this, we'll go 15 feet. And we'll just throw in a ceiling and a roof. And we'll just drop in a couple doors here. So we'll add in a garage door, like so. And we'll add in a man door over here on the side. And we'll just drop in a couple windows. So we're just going to add in some elements into our model just to help create a space for us. And once we have these added in, we're just going to go in and say, I want to move this guy to the center. And I should have centered these when I placed them in. And we'll place that one in. And same here. And then over here, we're just going to go 1 foot. So we've added in our doors and our windows. We now want to add in our dimensions. So it's going to go up to Tools, Dimensions. We're just going to Auto Exterior Dimension our plan. Now I want to take this floor plan that I've created and I want to add it into a working drawing sheet. So I'm going to go up and I'm going to select my floor plan working drawing sheet. So I'm now moving from my model into my worksheets. From there, I am going to go in and I'm just going to insert a view of my floor plan. So I'm going to go up to Insert, Smart Views, and I'm going to say Define Smart View. Now, I can alternatively, under the Insert tab, use my button here that shows me Smart Views, and I can just select the drop-down and just select Define Smart View. Both options will allow you to insert the view, both options will bring up the Insert View dialog box. Now, from here, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be specifying exactly what we want to insert. So when we're inserting a view, we want to, again, make sure that we give it a unique name. So this is going to be our ground floor plan. So I know exactly what this view is when it's inserted. So ground floor plan, it's going to be of the ground floor. It's going to be a 2D plan. It's going to be set to the scale of 1/4 inch is equal to a foot. This is where you can adjust the scale if you need to. Again, by default, we're going to keep it at 1/4 inch is equal to a foot. And under here, we can see what we want to be inserting. We don't want it to be an image, we want it to be a drawing. We also get the ability to control what we're going to insert. So I want to make sure that I'm inserting just the ground floor plan. So I'm just going to go over here, I'm just going to say display all. Then I'm going to uncheck the all locations. I'm going to select ground floor and I'm going to say display all. So what I've done there is I basically turned everything off on all the locations except for the elements on the ground floor. Elements on terrain, I don't want to see anything. Notation, I want to see the dimensions. And we haven't added in anything, so I don't need to worry about adding in the section marks or elevation marks. Once I'm happy, I'm just going to say OK. And it's now showing me the view. I'm just going to zoom in on it. And then I'm just going to click Insert. And now attached to my cursor is going to be that view. And it's going to be set at that 1/4 inch scale. In my title block, I can set the scale here as well. Pardon me. So in my title block, by default, it's going to be calling up 1/4 inch is equal to a foot. So if I need to edit it or if I want to adjust it, I can just simply select the edit definition. And then underneath the scale, I can go in. Actually, we're going to go back. We're going to hit escape. I believe that is set as an attribute. So we're going to go edit attributes. And we're going to change the scale here to be the value of what we want. Ours is 1/4 inch. So we're just going to say OK. I'm going to move to an elevation view, and I want to show you how you can adjust the scale if you want to for a set object. So if we do the exact same process, if we go up to and we say define smart view, we want to insert an elevation. We're going to select the elevation option, and we're going to insert the front elevation. I'm going to change this to be 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to keep everything else the same. I'm just going to make sure that I zoom out just a little bit here. And then I'm just going to make sure that it's in the middle of the drawing area. So I just want to make sure that everything is visible in that view. And then I'm just going to say insert. And what that will do is it's going to insert that elevation view at a smaller scale. This will allow me to insert multiple views onto this sheet. I can also say, well, you know what? It doesn't need to be that small. I can edit this size. So I can go back into and select the element and say, I want to redefine its settings. So here we're going to say, well, I don't want it to be 1/8 of an inch anymore. We're going to go 3/16. And then we're going to say update. We're going to make sure that, again, everything is visible within that view. And then we're going to say update. And now I can see that I have the view a little bit larger than what it was before. And this is going to, again, allow you to adjust how you want those views to be inserted. And again, in your title block, if you're going to insert all of the views, you would go in and say under the attributes, you would say on this page, everything is an 1/8 of an inch, or sorry, this one was 3/16. So everything is 3/16 of an inch in size. And then you would say, okay. And now when you print this sheet out, it's going to show you the correct scale for that view. You can also mix and match scales on a sheet. So let's say we want to adjust this. So I'm going to go back in. I'm going to say edit attributes. We're going to adjust this, and we're going to say, we'll say, we're going to say refer to drawing. So we'll say refer, we're going to say cap locks. We'll say refer to draw, and then we'll say okay. And what we're basically saying here is we want this to refer to the actual view that you've inserted. So if we've inserted all of these views, we got all of our elevations in, but I also want to insert a section view. So if I want to add in a section, and I just go up to, and we're going to create a section here real quick. Like so. In my elevations page, I want that section to be at a 1/2 inch scale, or sorry, at a 1/4 inch scale. I would go into define smart views. We're going to say section. We're going to zoom out. Section. We're going to zoom out. And then we're going to say 1/4 inch. We're going to say insert. And we're going to place that in. Update. So just smaller. Okay, so we'll go back to redefine, and we'll say 3/16, and we'll say update. So we have our section in at a 1/4 inch scale, and we have our smart views in at a 3/16 inch scale. So what I can do from there is I can go up and I can select tools, text, and text. Now, if you remember, I talked about text being its own set size. So it doesn't matter what our scale or what we're printing at is, this size right here is actual size. So no matter what I print my views at, the text is always going to be 1/8 of an inch. So I want the text to be a little bit larger for what I'm working with here. So let's change this to be notes. And that's going to give me a 1/4 inch size. And we're going to go in, I got cap locks turned on, and we're going to say front elevation. I'm going to say okay. And I can drop in the word front elevation. And then I can go in and I can copy that text. So it's going to go in and say duplicate. And I'm just going to duplicate this over to here. And we're going to say, I no longer want that to say front elevation. I want this to say, and we're going to make it, we'll do marks. That's a little bit too small. Let's do bearing. We'll do dimensions, and then we'll say scale, and then we'll do our, and then we'll say 3/16 of an inch is equal to 1 foot 0 inches. And then we'll say okay. So we've changed the scale of the main text, and we've adjusted the scale of the smaller text, and we're just going to adjust exactly where we want it to sit. So you can move these things around to, again, control exactly how you want this to be displayed. I know some people will like to have the text set up so that it sits essentially right underneath, like so, or some will want it to the left or the right. You can, again, adjust that however you need to. But once you have this done once, you can simply select it, duplicate it, and then you would just go down here and say, well, now we're looking at a section view. So we would just adjust the text here to say section. And then this is no longer a 3/16. This is now a 1/4 inch is equal to a foot. So you can, again, show your text in the views, which will only print out at the size of the text that you're using to again show your scales of your differing sizes of views within a sheet. So now we're going to be looking at printing a view to scale. So each view window in your project has its own set of print properties, such as the printer plotter selection, the paper size, scaling, and the print quality. These are settings that are used when you use the print tool to print the current view. So let's print a worksheet to learn about the print tool. I'm going to go in and we're going to print out this details or this elevations page. So what we're going to do is we're going to go up and we're going to select File and Print. Once you select File Print, it's going to bring up the Print Properties page. And it's going to use whatever the default settings are that you had set up in the View Manager. So it's automatically going to grab none and all of this information. If I want to be proactive and I want to make sure that I'm always using the same printer every single time in my office, or if I'm using the same plotter or the same PDF writer, then I would want to make sure in my template, I set up my View Manager. So when I go up to View and View Manager, in my template, I would make sure that the print properties select the view itself. So we're on elevations. I would make sure that I'm using, and I'm just going to grab the cute PDF writer. This is going to be the printer that I'm going to use. So I want this to use the cute PDF writer. I always print to a PDF because I don't have a plotter in my office. So I want to use this printer driver to create my sheets. The title block that I have inserted is an Arch D size sheet. So I want to make sure that the paper size is also Arch D. So I'm going to use the paper size and I'm going to say Arch D. We can see here it's now adjusted it to be the 2 foot by 3 foot Arch D size. It is going to be in a landscape format, so that's perfect. Now the print area. What are we actually printing? Well, in here I want to go and I want to select window. Once you select window, you need to define the window within the drawing sheet. So we're going to select the window button. And we're going to use these little red arrows that you see here. These are added in on purpose because they give you the ability to select 2 points to place, to select exactly where you want that window to be. They are non-plottable lines, so they're only visible on your sheets. They will never print. Once you have selected the window, we're going to say we want it to be centered on the page. We want it to be printed as black. Unless you want to be printing these in color, then you can uncheck this and it will print in color. I'm going to keep mine set to print as black. And now we need to control the print scaling. So depending on the sheet, it may adjust in size, but you're going to say, for the most part, I want to print this to scale, and the scale is going to match whatever the drawing environment is that you were working in. So again, 1/4 inch is equal to 1 foot, because that's what we were always drawing in. It doesn't matter what the sizes of the views are that we've inserted. When we created this, it was set to 1/4 inch is equal to 1 foot. That's what we're going to be printing this out as. I do want to print the line weights, and then all I'm going to simply say is okay to that. And I'm going to do this for every sheet. So again, this is going to be repetitive for in your template. So you want to make sure this is done in the template so you don't have to keep doing this every single time. So when I do this again, I'm just going to go up. I'm going to do this a little bit quicker. And it's going to be Arch D. Oops. Arch D. We're going to do window, window. And we're going to go from here to here. We're going to say this is going to be print to scale. And I'm not going to worry about the other two. I'll leave those two out. And then we're just going to simply say, okay. So now when we go in and we say, and we do that same file print option. So if I'm on elevations, I go file, print, it's going to remember all those settings that I had defined. So that's why I like to point this out, set it up in your template drawing if you're going to use the same plotter all the time. So that way, whenever you go into here to print, it's already set up for you. And everything that you've inserted should be within that correct title block space. If you do need to make adjustments to it, again, when you go file print, it's going to give you the ability to adjust. So if you want to change the plotter, change the size, change what you're printing, changing the scale, all of that can be done within the document, even after you've edited it. And then once you're done, you just simply say print. And what's going to happen is if you're printing to a plotter, if you're printing to a PDF writer, it's going to automatically create that PDF for you. And we're just going to save this to my desktop here. And we're just going to say scale webinar. And I have cap locks turned on. So we're going to make sure that that is all set up. And we'll say scale webinar, and then we'll say save. And again, all that does is it just creates that PDF and it gets placed onto my desktop. And then if I can find that PDF, which there it is right there, double click on it and it will show you that PDF again to the correct scale so that you can print that out. Or send that off to whoever needs it. Now, the last thing I wanted to talk about is paper sizes. Now, in North America, designers use paper sizes defined by the American National Standards Institute, or ANSI. This series of paper sizes is based on the standard 8.5 inch by 11 inch letter size, which is also known as ANSI A. In addition to the ANSI system, there is a corresponding series of paper sizes used for architectural purposes. This series is usually abbreviated to ARCH. In the document that I'm going to send, it's going to show you a list of the common paper formats and their dimensions. You can get an idea of the paper sizes as well. If you are using a plotter or a printer, it will show you a list of the paper sizes available for that plotter or printer. Or if you're using the PDF writer, you can again see all the different sizes. So here you can see we have the arch sizes, and then up a little bit further, you're going to have your letter, your tabloid, your ledger, your legal, and 11 by 17. So these are going to be, again, just the different sizes that you can use and you can print to. Now, ANSI A is going to be your 8.5 by 11. That's going to be your letter size. ANSI B is going to be 11 by 17, and that's going to be this option right here. Arch C, D, and E, and there's also an Arch F, which isn't available on this plotter that I'm using, but there is an Arch F as well. Arch C is going to be an 18 inch by 24 inch size of paper. And you can see here, this one is, don't worry about these numbers. This is telling you the overall size since we're printing this to scale. I'm just going to say fit to page. So here you can see you got your 18 by 24. Arch D is 24 by 36. Arch E is going to be your 3 foot by 4 foot, or your 36 by 48. And then there is an Arch F again, which is a different size, and it is a 30 by 42. Now, this one I don't believe, oh, right here. So we have a, they're calling it E1, and this one is, again, 30 by 42. So depending on the paper size that you need, you can adjust the paper size using the option within the print properties. Alternatively, if you're going to be changing the paper size, you're going to want to change the title block in Envisioneer as well. Now, we set up our templates to print at a 24 by 36 inch size sheet. If you know you're going to be printing on a smaller paper size, then you're going to want to make sure that you adjust the title block. And you can do that by just simply going up to your blocks and saying insert block. And under the insert block, we have the exact same title block in different sizes. So again, this could be something that you use in a template format. So if you know you're going to be working with a smaller project and it's going to fit on an 11 by 17 or an 18 by 24, then you can have a template set up so that it prints to those sheets for you already. So you don't need to do this setup every single time. You would just select that template from the start when you're working with your drawing. But if you ever do need to make an adjustment on the fly, again, you can just simply add in the title block that you want. And we're just going to say, okay, I'm going to drop that guy in here, and we're just going to delete that one out. I can now fit both of these onto my sheet. So I just want to go up and I want to adjust the print. So I'm going to go File, Print. Still going to be a PDF, still going to be at a 1/4 inch scale, but I'm changing the paper size to an arch C. And then I'm going to change my window from there to there. And then I'm just going to simply say print. And again, it's just going to print that out using that size sheet. So again, we're just going to go up to desktop. We're going to select scale webinar, and we're just going to go -2. And we'll just say open save PDF, and we'll say save. And then it will now print using that smaller title block, but still at that 1/4 inch scale. So that covers everything that I wanted to talk about in today's class. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the questions and answers portion of the class. So if you do happen to have any questions, please feel free to go ahead and type those in. I'm not seeing any questions at this point, so I'm just going to go ahead and reiterate that I will be sending out this, we'll be sending out an email that contains a document that again goes over everything that we've talked about today. Should you happen to have any questions while going over that document after our class, you can reach out to our support department and they will be happy to help you out with any questions you might have. So I'm just going to pause here for a moment to see if anybody has any questions. If you do have a question and you're just typing it out, just raise your hand so I know that you are typing. Okay. So there doesn't appear to be any questions. It doesn't appear that anyone has any questions at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and end our class today. I do thank you all for attending. I do look forward to speaking with you all again very soon. Thank you very much, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your day.